Today we're going to begin to learn about integers. And as we begin our discussion, we need to think about how we first learned how to count, and what we already know about numbers. We can say, in a sense, that 0 is the absence of numbers. It's nothing, it's 0. And then we begin to learn to count, so we count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so on and so forth. These are our counting numbers, or what are called natural numbers. But there's sometimes in life where we need to start thinking about quantities or values that are less than 0. When we think about temperatures, for example, we can have 0 degrees, we can have 10 degrees, but we can also have temperatures that are below 0 or below freezing in terms of Celsius. We can have -1 degree, -2 degrees, -3 degrees, -4 degrees, -5 degrees, so on and so forth. And that's what's meant by these arrows at the end of our number lines. It means that it keeps going. So integers, when we talk about integers, we can say that it includes both 0, our positive or counting numbers, natural numbers, okay, and our negative values as well. Okay. We also begin to look at what the definition of opposites are. So, for example, on a number line, if we have 0 kind of being in the center of it, if I had a value of 10, the opposite of 10 would be -10. Okay? This is showing that both are 10 spaces away from 0. But the only difference is one has a positive value and one has a negative value. Okay? So these two numbers are opposites, which also means that another definition of looking at integers is saying that includes 0, it includes positive whole numbers, okay, and this whole idea of whole numbers is something I left out on the other screen, but the values have to be whole numbers. And it also includes their opposites. Which is what we mean when we talk about the negative values. And the negative values are the opposite. We really show by this negative sign right here in front of a number. If this positive sign isn't written, it's assumed to be a positive number. Okay. Also, this whole idea of opposites also comes in handy when we start to talk about what the absolute value of a number is. And when we talk about what the absolute value of a number is, what we're really talking about is the distance away from 0. And this is a lot of times when we're looking at a number line. So, if I take that example of 10 again, okay, the absolute value of 10, and this is the symbol for absolute value. It's a straight vertical line on either side. So we can add that to our definition. The distance away from 0, and we can say absolute is written with these double bars with the number in the middle. Okay? The absolute value of 10, once I apply those absolute value signs, we can say that it's going to equal 10 because the number 10 is 10 spaces away from 0. Similarly, if we take negative 10, or the opposite of 10, when we start talking about the absolute value of negative 10, we can also say that it's 10 spaces away. So if I count this, negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4, negative 5, negative 6, negative 7, negative 8, negative 9, negative 10, I will have had to count 10 spaces. Okay. Much like I would here. So what this can also lead us to discover is as we begin to out absolute value, what we will begin to notice is that absolute value will always be positive. It will always give a positive value. Okay, so when we start looking at what the absolute value of negative 300 is, we can say that it is 300 spaces away from 0. If we have negative 46, we can say that it's 46 spaces away from 0. If we have one absolute value of 139, we can say 139 is 139 spaces away from 0. So this is the kind of the application of integers and beginning to understand what an integer is. It all has to do with what is the distance away from 0. Okay. Hope this has been helpful, and looking forward to beginning this journey of learning about integers with you.